House Select Committee investigating the January 6 Capitol riots held its last hearing of the month on Thursday. The focus of this hearing was on what the panel says about Trump's refusal to act during the 187 minutes of carnage that took place inside the Capitol building.
Here's what will be clear by the end of this hearing. President Trump did not fail to act during the 187 minutes between leaving the ellipse and telling the mob to go home. He chose not to act.
The panel was chaired by Democratic Committee Chief Benny Thompson, who accused Trump of deliberately taking no action and disregarding the desperate pleas of his family and staff as violence continued on Capitol 6 on January the 6th.
For the weeks between November election and January 6th, Donald Trump was a force to be reckoned with. He shrugged off the factuality and legality, correct, sober advice of his knowledgeable and sensible advisors. Instead, he recklessly blazed a path of lawlessness and corruption, the cost to which democracy be damned. January 6th was the culmination of an attempted coup, a brazen attempt, as one rioter put it, shortly after January 6th, to overthrow the government. The violence was no accident.
The January 6th committee also released a video of Donald Trump shot a day after the deadly riot.
This election is now over. Congress has certified the results. I don't want to say the election's over. I just want to say Congress has certified the results without saying the election's over, okay?
House committee member and the Wyoming representative Liz Cheney said the reason why Trump did not stop the mob was because they were fulfilling his goal.
Only one thing was succeeding on the afternoon of January 6th. Only one thing was achieving President Trump's goal. The angry, armed mob President Trump sent to the Capitol broke through security, invaded the Capitol, and forced the vote counting to stop. That mob was violent and destructive, and many came armed.
Two former Trump aides also gave their in-person testimony in front of the panel. Matthew Pottinger, the former Deputy National Security Advisor, was among the two.
Didn't have the courage to do what should have been done to protect our country and our Constitution.
Also present at the hearing was the Metropolitan Police Department Sergeant Mark Robinson.
Trump says you're fine! Are you trigger happy? Are you trigger happy? Happy to shoot Americans?
In the end, Representative Cheney said that the panel will spend the next month pursuing new and damning evidence before convening further hearings. Our correspondent, Susan Tehrani, is joining us live from New York. Susan, what was your take on last night's hearing?
So we did get a lot of fresh new evidence last night's hearing. As you clearly mentioned, that video from Donald Trump reading off the teleprompter made a lot of news. It was a catchphrase shared widely on social media, which is no coincidence, considering the fact that, you know, a lot of people, at least on the Republican side and those that support Donald Trump, won't be watching these hearings and will be tuning out. Those that are watching it will be watching it on prime time. And for those that won't be, these little snippets, you know, will be shared ultimately, and perhaps, you know, that way, you know, a wider audience will be able to watch it. I think what was interesting was to see, you know, part of Donald Trump Jr.'s cooperation as well, you know, sort of trying to convince his father to also stop the protesters, notably the attack, or attempted attack at least, on Vice President Mike Pence. I think another noteworthy thing that isn't being talked about, and the highlight really is on this January 6th hearing, is that the Electoral Count Act, to prevent something like January 6th to really happen again, divorced of Donald Trump, is a bipartisan group of senators are trying to revive a legislation and modernize the Electoral Count Act. And I think if that really happens, although it's 18 months out, it would really give Congress the authority to act if something like this happens again. And I think that happening on Wednesday, separate from these hearings, would be important for the country as well.
And Susan, just quickly, the latest on Steve Bannon's trial?
Yeah, so Steve Bannon, it seems like it's an extremely straightforward case. He was barred from testifying, on the one hand, from the judge, and also advised from his prosecutor yesterday not to take a stand and say that it was because of Donald Trump that he didn't cooperate with the January 6th hearing. What we are expecting today is the prosecution and defense to deliver their closing arguments, and then afterwards deliberations are expected to begin.
That was Steve Tairani, our correspondent, reporting live for us from New York.